Hey, welcome to video 11 in our van build series. Today we're going to soundproof and insulate our van. I'll list all of the products and tools we used in the description below. Let's get started. I have received all kinds of different, if not conflicting opinions on how much sound deadening Kilmat you need to install to be effective. I've heard that you only have to cover 20 to 30% of the surface to effectively stop a lot of that resonating that you get while you're driving and bouncing along. Others have shared that you shouldn't have more than 6 inches of exposed metal. And still others have used so much of this Kilmat that you can no longer see what color the van is. I kind of went in the middle, probably covering 60 to 70% of the van's surface. Kilmat's own website suggests 25% coverage on all the walls and 100% on the wheel wells. If you have a 136 Promaster and are planning to take my approach, 2 boxes of Kilmat will meet your needs. When you're done, and if you have any material left over, you can always apply 2 layers on the wheel wells if you like, so 200% coverage on the wheel wells, just a thought. The Kilmat material has a waxy brown paper that is protecting the adhesive and needs to be removed to install the product. One point everyone was clear on was to wear gloves. This stuff is super easy to work with, but equally easy to cut yourself with as well. Additionally, one of the first steps is to properly clean and degrease the surface to ensure that you have an excellent surface to adhere to. There are all kinds of opportunities to cut your hands doing this job. Here you can see I'm just holding up a couple of pieces to determine rough placement. Now, this is literally the very first piece I put up. It took me just a couple of pieces to figure out how to properly apply this. Placing the Kilmat is only half the job. You have to buy an application roller. I'll provide a link in the description. Here's a close-up. The back of the Kilmat product is covered with tiny bubble pockets. The grooved roller makes it very easy to see where you have provided pressure and where you haven't, meaning the product physically changes appearance once it is properly installed. Awesome. Again, this is my very first panel. I became much more efficient as I moved forward. A few panels in, I have greatly streamlined my rolling technique, starting in the middle and working out, and then ending with running along the edges. Contoured surfaces double, triple, or in the case of the roof ceiling, quadruple the work. It wasn't until day 2 that I figured I'd start to tackle the roof. Oh my gosh. Do it first. Or do a panel on the roof and then a panel on the wall. The contoured roof surface is 4 times the work of a flat wall surface, and your arms are above you the whole time. Don't leave the roof until last. Do a little bit as you work along to give your arms a rest. Here I'm just changing things up. My arms are shot, so I'm taking a break by doing some painting to cover up any exposed scratches in the metal. I'm also doing the wheel wells because I'll be covering the wheel wells with Kilmat shortly. Here I'm touching up some exposed metal on the roof a day before I cover the area with Kilmat. What you're looking at here is about 4 to 5 hours of work, which I did over a 2-day period. It's coming along. I have been sort of cleaning, degreasing, and painting as I tackle certain areas. I suppose one could clean and paint the entire van all at once to save time, but this worked for me because I had to give my arms a rest. As you can see here, I still have 2 more metal panels on the roof to do, which will take another 12 Kilmats to install to finish the roof. We We removed every plastic cover from every wall surface, including door panels, to stick small pieces of Kilmat wherever we could. So I'm going to provide just a quick 20-second update. I have just finished putting my second coat of Kilmat on this wheel well, and it's very time consuming and quite draining. Long story short, that's done. Look over on this side here, I have one layer on this, so I've got one more to go there. And looking at, this is my second box, and I have over half of it left, so I'm going to have all kinds of Kilmat remaining. Taking a look around the van, you'll see the entire walls and ceiling are done. Inside the doors are done, including the sliding door. So I literally have nothing left to do except for a second layer on that wheel well. And then I move on to insulation, which is going to be fun. Here I'm using 3M Thinsulate Acoustic Thermo Insulation SM600L. I've provided a link in the description. The material comes 5 feet wide and can be purchased in 10, 20, or 30 foot lengths. Calculate what you need and order accordingly. The material arrives compressed in a tight roll and will expand to about 1 3/4 inches. Not only does it have insulation properties, it will also create a quieter vehicle environment. Here I'm using standard household scissors to do the cutting. Likely some sort of industrial shear might have worked better, but these work just fine. What doesn't work is a utility knife. You need scissors to do this job. I started my insulation job in the small crevices. I didn't use any adhesive here. I simply cut everything an inch longer and an inch wider than measured to ensure pieces were snug. Again, notice the gloves? I didn't receive a single cut during the installation. So here is a can of 3M high strength 90 spray adhesive. You twist the nozzle to adjust the spray pattern, you spray adhesive to both bonding surfaces, you wait about a minute, and you install. I am about to install my first piece of insulation that requires adhesive. So the first thing I want to do is I want to find the center of it. I'm going to use that to assist me when I install. So I'm just going to mark that up. With the high strength 90 adhesive, you have to apply it to both surfaces. So this is the first area I'm going to do. And I actually have some wiring in behind here. And I don't want to get any adhesive on that. I actually want to get in behind it. So I'll remove this before I install it. But I've applied this little bit of tape just to assist in the spraying. These are the panels I'm doing to begin with. I've also just put a little bit of tape over a cabin light. I don't even know if I'll be using this later, but for now I'm covering it so no overspray gets on it. So I spray this, I spray the other thing, and I wait 1 minute before applying. That's better. Okay. This is really easy work. I have nothing to add here. I cut everything about an inch larger than the space I was trying to fill and installed it. Of course, I am now doing something completely unrelated to the title of this video. I'm installing a bed rail. I won't go into details on this build. I'll have that covered in a future video. For now, all I want to share is that I wanted to mount these rails now, just in case I had to do some modifications to the mounting system. I would address those changes now before I stuffed all of the cavities with insulation. Here is a sneak peek at the finished bed. Now back to insulation. As I moved into trying to fill irregular spaces, I first made a cardboard template to accurately capture the space. After confirming I had the shape exactly right, I transferred the template to the Thinsulate Insulation. This worked great. Installing the Thinsulate product was very easy, enjoyable, and very rewarding. At the end of the day, you could see and feel significant differences in the vehicle. The whole vehicle felt snug and warm. For a job this size, others have suggested 3 cans of 3M adhesive. I would suggest buying 4 or 5. I may have been too liberal with the product, I really don't know. I just really wanted to make sure the Thinsulate stayed put. Now if you look closely, you'll notice some tape with center lines marked on the ceiling piece. Since I was working over my head, it was very important to me that the initial contact point, the center, was correctly placed. There is no moving this material after you make contact. Doing so would pull the insulation off the product. The ceiling was the only area I used the previously purchased Kilmat roller, just to make sure I was pushing the material into each cavity. Having determined that I had sufficient material left over to cover additional areas, I quickly slipped a piece above the headliner over the cab. No adhesive used here, just stuffed it in. Here I'm working on the back right door lower panel. Just going to take a minute and talk about my plan here for the doors rather than dragging you through every step. Obviously I've got the Kilmat here. I have been covering the accessible areas with insulation, of course using the 90 Spray 3M adhesive, working great. However, in the areas down, in the bottom, I'm not using any adhesive at all here. What I'm doing is I'm just grabbing some insulation and I'm folding it over like this and stuffing it in. I want to be able to get in there later if I have to service something, whether it's a door opening mechanism or not. So you can see here, and actually I'm doing it with the black out. I'll flip this one around. I've got this white out, so I'll flip it around to be like this one. But yeah, just stuffing those areas in. I'll apply some across here. I may attempt sliding some insulation down the inside of this tube. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if I'll report back on that or not, but I'll probably give it a try. I've got a little bit to do at the top and then the covers can start to go back on. So that's where we're at there. One last thing here. A minute ago you saw me reassemble this, and just a word to the wise. How about you check the 5 lights, make sure they're still working after you fiddle around up there. I managed to disable 2 of them. And in actuality, I found out that 1 was disabled and 1 was burnt out. So I've removed the caps again, and so yeah, just a word of caution. Once you're playing up there, make sure that you haven't done more damage than good. Now I'm starting to insulate the sliding door. Nothing new to report here. Same process, slightly oversized and install. Super easy. Here we are working on the lower front end of the sliding door. Now, there was a door latch cable here that I decided to temporarily tie off to keep out of the way during the installation of the insulation. I removed this temporary tie after the insulation was installed. Last point I want to make on insulation as I'm just wrapping up this job. I am not filling every nook and cranny. Not yet. As you can see here, I've got nothing in these major pillars. I've got nothing down these channels and so forth. I will likely be putting something in that space. However, I want to stop the insulation job at this point because I need to start the rough in of the wiring.
and I got a lot of wiring to do. And after I'm comfortable that I have the 12 volt and the 110 volt cables wherever I need them, then I will finish putting the insulation into these areas. I'm just following the same process that I took with, putting this bed rail on. I wanted to make sure that I had this thing working properly now, before I had to deal with insulation in the background. So we're going to call it done from an insulation standpoint. You can see I've got some stuffed everywhere, but I haven't filled every cavity up yet because I need to pull some cables. We'll call this one done.